Hey, fellow Kotanas, and welcome back to the channel. And today, I'm reviewing a movie that was literally a bloody good time. That's right, today I'm reviewing Iron Lung, the movie made by Markiplier, inspired by the game that was made by David Szymanski, of course, of the same name. And, guys, I'm going to do a quick plug here. Shameless plug, don't care, gotta do it because I played the game Iron Lung for the first time ever, and I uploaded the Let's Play to the channel. Link will be in the description down below if you guys want to go check that out. Now, back to real business at hand. Guys, this movie, when I heard about it I was actually excited for the movie to come out. Not only for the movie to come out, but also for Markiplier, because I've been a fan of his since 2012. I mean, I started watching him back then, and when I heard that he was going to be making a movie based off of the game of Iron Lung, which I knew he had played and I knew he had a big love for, but I had never played the game, and so I was intrigued by that. It did not disappoint me in the least. This movie was amazing. So, we're going to get right into this review with first and foremost, the first thing that I liked and the first thing that jumped out at me was that it adapted the game's isolation and its fight for survival, as well as the sub's navigation, fantastically. I mean, among the other things that it did with keeping the navigation on the board, the numbers and the arrow of where the sub is being pointed at and everything, just like it is in the game, that was well done. That was off the top the best way that I could have seen that hub being done in a movie format, because in the game obviously it's just arrows. Now in movie world, turn dial, push forward and you go forward or you go backward. Perfect, great, makes sense. It's easy for the viewer to understand, especially those who have not played the game before. And the fight for survival would be an eventuality, but really it's not so much about a fight for survival against a physical thing. It's also a mental thing within this movie, because Simon, our main character, played by Markiplier, of course, he had to literally buckle down and figure out what is it that is making the voices, what is making this seem so real to him, but is also kind of affecting him in such a negative way, it seems. And the isolation, I mean, there's a point in this film where the isolation really becomes key, and it's at a point where it needed to happen. I mean, that is right off the cuff. One of the best things about this movie is how well it adapts the game into a movie form. The next thing that it does really well is the story. So, if you guys don't know, the story of Iron Lung, the game, is very similar to the movie. It follows a convict who is basically charged with the task of going into a blood ocean on a desolate, barren moon. And after the quiet rapture happens, which is basically something occurs at some point in time that all light or planets and everything, stars, is consumed or destroyed or whatever. And I've not really figured out the entirety of the lore yet. I've just started my deep dive into Iron Lung's lore. So, this is literally, I'm making this video straight after I watched the movie. So, this story takes place very much similar to how the game takes place, and the only difference I think the layout of how the story is done and how it's made is done just a little bit better and fleshed out to a certain degree more than what the game is. The game is much more about exploration and discovery and much more of a situational kind of game, whereas the movie is more ambiguous to a degree from the start to the finish. It does not give the viewer much information. You have to follow along. It's not a movie that you just play in the background for fun. You literally have to sit down and watch this movie to understand what's happening and where you're at in the course of the story. And that leads me into the character arc, because the character arc of our main character, Simon, he starts off in a kind of brooding fashion, very convict-like for movies, and it's very typical. It feels very typical. He has this very kind of dark tone on his face, and he's clearly not happy to be there. I mean, who would? You're in an ocean of blood all of a sudden, and you don't know what's in there. On top of all of that, where we start with Simon to where we end up with him, you end up wanting him to live. You end up wanting him to survive. Now, does he or does he not? I'm not going to spoil that for any of those who have not yet watched this movie. In fact, I'm not going to spoil much of anything, which is why I'm not showing a whole lot of the movie in pictures and images, simply just because of I want to keep things open for those who have not seen this movie. Much like myself, when this movie came out, I knew that there would be leaks online of people going to the theater and taking images or videos and putting them online. I kept myself away from those as much as I could because there was no way I was going to spoil this movie for me. I didn't even spoil the game for me, so why would I spoil the movie? So I stayed away from those videos, and that helped me coming into this movie, especially having played the game first. The character arc to Simon, there is no character arc in the game, but in the movie, there is a clear character arc, and he starts out almost not wanting or having a desire to live, but he ends up wanting to live. He ends up having that desire and that fight, and he finds it within to fight and to try and survive this seemingly unsurvivable situation. And it's just so well done, which brings me to the acting of Markiplier, which, I mean, we've seen him do things online here on YouTube where he is shown that he has some acting chops. This movie, though, really being his first theatrical release, this showed how good of an actor Markiplier is and can be, and it really showed him in a different way than we've seen him. Now, in that, I do have to point out that there are points where you kind of see the Let's Player of Markiplier pop out every once in a while, and it's kind of fun, especially on the map, saying certain things like alien shit and ass tubes of some kind. You'll have to watch the movie to know what I'm talking about, but it was funny to see those little details and to even see some of those dialogue details come out from past Let's Plays that have kind of seemed right for the moment in this game. And even his reactions sometimes were like, wow, I've seen that reaction before on him. That's proper for this point in time. So he utilized some of his YouTube and Let's Playing reactions and dialogue and vocalizations for this movie, which was perfect. It felt almost like he was doing a Let's Play in real life to a degree, but it was inside of a movie, obviously, which was, I think, part of what he wanted to do. I'm not going to say for sure, but it felt like that was a part of what he wanted to do. He wanted to feel like you could be a gamer playing this on a game and feel it had that feeling of the game. And that was just perfect, as well as the voice acting in this game was very well done, very well voice acted. Of course, you had Troy Baker, which is just one of the names that did it. I forget the other names off the top of my head right now. With this story, with the character arc, with the acting and voice acting, the mixture of visual, miniatures, um, just all the effects in this movie came together and blended together so well, damn near seamlessly, that you couldn't ignore the fact that this was all just happening as it occurred on the screen and felt very real at the same time. It felt like you could be there in that situation of, oh shit, and it just felt real. It felt alive, and it also felt like I just said, oh shit. Even with those two good points that popped out right at me from the get-go, I do have to say that it does kind of seem to suffer a slight pacing issue. It's not the worst pacing issue, I think, that I've sat through in a movie. I think that it was at a pretty good pace throughout the entirety of it. I mean, the game is a slow burn as well, and you take your time and explore around while collecting objectives, yes. But for a movie, you know, there's a lot of people out there I've heard through the grapevine say that the issue with the pacing, it could have been knocked back maybe 15, 20, or maybe even 25 minutes down and been fine. I think that it was at the right duration. I just think that there could have been situations, maybe audio cues, maybe flashbacks a little bit more that broke up some of the monotony at certain points in time, but it wasn't something that really took me out of the movie. It didn't make me go, this is just droning on and on and on. It actually worked for it in a lot of ways because it made it feel more isolated, even with the overcom being in there, and every once in a while Ava's voice would come over the overcom or the intercom and talk to Simon. It still, like, the pacing issue and everything didn't really feel like it was droning on. It felt right when it needed to be right. I just don't think that it added enough of like the subtle audio cues though, of like something hitting the side of the sub like early on in the film before the eel gets into the gets more into the story of it. I think that slight audio cues, just very hidden audio cues, almost like similar to the game, where you hear something hit the side or the top or the bottom of the sub, and it would have, I think, broken it up a little bit more. I think it would have made people cue into those, and also when Simon reacts, you know, did I really just hear that kind of thing, or just something to give it more environment, I think would have helped in that sense. But other than that, I think that the duration of the film was fine. You know, I mean, most films are 2 hours or longer nowadays, but I think 2 hour runtime plus was not bad. I think it was a perfect runtime, and it told the story. It gave enough time to tell the story and to set the tone of the film. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the eel's design. This design of this creature, I've seen The Thing by John Carpenter. That was a good body horror film. This creature design was a standout body horror creature design. I mean, it made you feel uneasy seeing it on screen when it would pop up on screen through the x-rays, and even certain other points when you see it in the blood ocean itself, but it also made you kind of feel for it, because it made you wonder if all of these, what makes up the body of the eel, are still feeling, are still somehow alive to a degree, but maybe not so much. And that's another thing that I want to point out real quick, is the details. The details in this movie are, without a shadow of a doubt, hands down, some of the best detailing and subtle detailing that I've seen, such as certain points where Simon asks, especially early in the film, when he asks, why is it so warm in here, or why is it so hot in here? At first I was like, why would it be hot in there? And then it clicked. Blood. The blood ocean would be a warm place, because blood is not always, but typically warm. And it's like, wow, that is great detailing. And to see everything come to a fold in the epic conclusion of this film is, without a shadow of a doubt, this movie was put over the top of all movies that I've seen this decade. And to me, I'm thinking that this movie is going to be the movie of the decade. It set a bar, it set a tone for independent films going forward, that we're currently seeing a trend in with Obsession and Backrooms. That is, independent films are doing things that are setting tones for the future of films, I think, and it's going to be an interesting time moving forward to see how that happens. But this movie, to me, is the movie of the decade. It's my movie of the decade, bar none, because it just, the horror, the tone, the unsettlement of it, the just wondering if Simon may be the one to actually get out alive. It's just so well done. But if you guys excuse me now, I think I gotta go try and find some merch from this movie so I can go support Mark. In fact, you guys go on and go support Mark on his channel. Give him some love for this movie, because this is a benchmark for Markiplier, bar none. I mean, the fact that this movie was 3 or 4 weeks at number one, I forget the exact number, but to hear, when I heard about that and it was happening in real time, I was like, I wanted to make a video saying congratulations then, but you know, it is what it is. I waited to this point to give him his flowers, because he deserves that much from us as his fans. He did something that a lot of us dream of and that few of us get the opportunity to do, and that's make a movie. And that opportunity, that chance, that privilege is something that is a feeling that you never get in anything else. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go find me some merch and see what I can get. For this video on my review of Iron Lung, my first takeaways from Iron Lung, I might make another video, a more in-depth review later on, but for now I just wanted to get my initial reactions from this movie. I wanted to do an actual react and review video to it, but unfortunately I couldn't make it work out. But nonetheless, this movie, like I said, it's the movie of the decade for me, and we'll see what happens next. You know, I don't think that we need an Iron Lung 2. I really don't. I think that for the movie, I think one Iron Lung movie is good, but if there is another one, I wouldn't be against it at all. I think that it could build on something that is becoming quite a high interest for someone like me right now. So, for this video, I thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of Markiplier's Iron Lung movie in the comments down below. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. Aside from that, always remember to imagine your dream, create your happiness, and live your life on the edge. I'll see you in that next episode. See ya.